Everyone knows Jason Momoa as a huge Hollywood actor. Aquaman, Game of Thrones, huge movies, huge personality. But there's another side to him that most people never notice. Because when the cameras stop rolling, Jason Momoa becomes the guy behind the camera. Not just casually, he's obsessed with them. Rare vintage Leicas, custom cinema rigs, film cameras from the 1950s, massive red cameras used on Hollywood sets. Some of the cameras in his collection are worth more than cars. And the weird part is, this doesn't feel like just another celebrity collecting. It feels personal. Because if you look closely, photography is woven into almost every part of his life.
I was annoyed by my mother at a very early age. She would pull over constantly. We'd be driving, trying to get somewhere. She'd pull over and need to take a picture, and pull over and need to take a picture. And until I realized, when I saw my mother's pictures and I could see her eye and see how she captured things and see how she saw the world. After I got into acting, then I really, it just kind of linked up with cinematography. So I started shooting.
Traveling, road trips, friends and family.
Travel the earth with.
Even the way he sees the world. There's actually an old video where Momoa starts showing off his Leica collection, like he's a kid showing someone his favorite toy. And with
that, a little bit of film. Now, let's take this, put that in the old Hicks, and let's grab a trusty M11. Don't drop anything here. This is gonna go in the bag.
Within seconds, you realize this isn't some random celebrity hobby. This guy genuinely loves cameras. One of the coolest things about his collection is a lot of them revolve around Leica cameras. And if you know photography, Leica is basically the Rolex of the camera world. Hand-built metal cameras, legendary lenses, tiny mechanical machines that photographers became emotionally attached to for decades. And at one point, Momoa shows off his collection that includes cameras like a vintage 1958 Leica M2.
My M2, I generally have an M2 or an M3, it's a film camera.
Alongside with newer Leica bodies and rare lenses. And honestly, the way he talks about them is what makes it interesting.
Beautiful workhorse. I love Leicas and I love being able to shoot film, but at the same time I love shooting digital too. I just fell in love with this camera, so M10P. It's shooting through like 30s and 40s glass, but using digital. So my whole idea is to be able to take something that's so crisp and clear with digital, but be able to shoot through old glass. I enjoy experimenting with that kind of stuff.
He doesn't sound like a collector trying to flex money. He sounds like somebody obsessed with the craftsmanship.
What? Hold on. Nobody on the planet knows about this yet.
Like somebody who genuinely appreciates the feeling of things. The weight, the metal, the sound of the shutter. And apparently his Leica obsession got so serious that it actually caught the attention of Leica themselves. Not long after, he started collaborating with Leica in shooting projects using Leica paired with Red cinema camera, which is kind of insane when you think about it. Most actors show up to set, do their scene, and leave. Momoa started falling in love with the cameras that were actually used to shoot his movies. And this is where the story gets really interesting. Because the deeper he got into photography, the crazier the cameras started becoming.
Adopt that onto a Komodo, for me, is gonna be cinema gold.
There's one story where he ended up with an incredibly rare gold Leica. Something that perfectly matched the luxury side of camera culture surrounding him. Even outside photography circles, people started noticing him wear rare Leica gear and gold Leica accessories that almost nobody had. They're expensive, beautifully built, a little rugged, a little artistic. Old school craftsmanship mixed with luxury, kind of exactly the same vibe Jason Momoa gives off. But then, there's the complete opposite side of his collection. Because while Leica cameras are small and quiet, his cinema cameras are absolutely monsters. This is where red cameras enter the picture. And if Leica is the Rolex of photography, Red is basically the supercar of digital filmmaking. Huge cinema bodies, massive rigs, movie-level image quality. At one point, Momoa talked about shooting projects using red digital film cameras paired with Leica cinema lenses.
I've been collecting old 20s, 30s, 40s lenses, photography lenses because it's affordable. It's easier to get than a film lens, and so I've always wanted to shoot that way, and it's been a dream of mine for 15 plus years to be able to take this vintage style lens. But now, you know, that it's 6K and it's this size, and I told him, I was like, man, it would be awesome to be able to get one in brass.
And once you see these setups, you realize this goes way beyond taking a casual photo. These are the kinds of cameras used to shoot giant cinematic worlds. Entire crews operate these. The lenses alone cost tens of thousands of dollars. And somehow, Jason Momoa became deeply involved in that world. There's even footage of him geeking out over camera rigs and talking about lenses. That's when you realize this isn't an actor pretending to like cameras. This is somebody genuinely obsessed with image making. And honestly, the contrast in his collection is probably the coolest part. On one side, you have the tiny vintage film cameras from the 1950s. On the other side, you have giant Hollywood cinematic rigs capable of shooting blockbuster movies. But weirdly, both of these cameras do the exact same thing: capture moments. One captures quiet moments, the other captures giant cinematic worlds. And Jason Momoa seems obsessed with both. There's also something kind of refreshing about the fact that he still loves film photography at all, because film photography makes absolutely no sense. It's slower, more expensive, and less convenient. You only get a limited number of shots, and you don't even know if the photo worked until later. But maybe that's exactly why people love it again. Film feels human. And celebrities, they started gravitating towards that feeling hard over the last few years. Artists like Tyler, the Creator, and Frank Ocean helped make old cameras feel cool again. Suddenly, cameras like the Contax T2 exploded in price. Vintage Leica cameras became a status symbol again. And somehow, Jason Momoa ended up right in the middle of the entire moment. One of the coolest moments connected to his camera obsession happened when people noticed he kept carrying the same worn Leica around constantly.
It's my M2. I generally have an M2 or an M3. It's a film camera. It's a 50mm lens. Yeah, it's just a beautiful workhorse. I love Leicas and I love being able to shoot film, but at the same time, I love shooting digital too.
The camera had visible wear all over it, and photographers immediately recognized it because cameras only started looking like that when they'd genuinely been used for years. That's honestly what separates real camera people from collectors. Collectors preserve cameras. Photographers, they destroy them. They scratch them, travel with them, beat them up, turn them into memory machines. And Jason's, his looked exactly like that. And maybe that's the real reason his collection feels so interesting. Because underneath all that money and rare gear, it doesn't feel fake. It feels like somebody's trying to hold on to moments in a world moving very fast. Which is kind of ironic, because one of the biggest movie stars on the planet seems obsessed with cameras that force him to slow down. And honestly, maybe that's exactly why so many people are falling back in love with cameras again.